So we begin inside the box with Brigadoon, which I was asked to show because I mentioned it when I was talking about shows that are probably in my top 20. I guess this one's kind of really hard to explain. The basic premise is another world appears in the sky. Monsters are flying down trying to kill her, and she finds him sealed in an ampule in a shrine, and he comes out to protect her. It's really difficult to explain, but if anybody's going to try and watch this series, not knowing much about it, just because I've suggested it, I should at least mention you probably need to go at least a couple episodes in, because the first episode's just, well, I mean, the entire series is strange. It has a weird sense of humor, but basically, I'm going to move this too. Basically, it doesn't really become obvious why someone might like it until you really get into it, I guess. The other one, the other series I mentioned in that post and I was asked to show is Figure 17. The story of this one is, let's see. There was a monster called Maguar who laid a bunch of eggs. They were it had been captured. It had been stolen. They had recovered it, and the space pilot bringing it back to Earth, or no, bringing it back somewhere, crash landed on Earth. Long story short, Tsubasa ends up combining with a rebirth in order to turn into the titular character Figure 17. Why this one would be on my top 20 is pretty simple. I actually really like the way the series begins. And I really like the way it ends. And actually, even though I thought the second half wasn't as exciting the first time I watched it, it was actually pretty good after that. I don't know. Those are my personal tastes, so you don't necessarily need to think they're good yourself when you watch them, if you decide to. Actually, I should probably show this with the case on. Sorry, I was actually talking about Durara, which I took the plastic off because I was thinking about this. I don't know how much of that might have peeked on the side of the camera. You know, I always keep these inserts, but I can't help but think I shouldn't. But I haven't shown all three of these together yet, all three releases of it. So here we go. After this, I'll probably be referring people back to this video if I remember I had it. I don't know. But basically, it's kind of a strange release. It probably doesn't look like it on camera, but the material of this case feels different somehow. And I'm not exactly sure what it is. A different kind of paper consistency, I guess. As you can see, it's not terribly easy to take them in and out the plastic all the time. And you see, normally it's attached like that. They all come with a ton of postcards. Oh, as for what... Oh gosh, how am I supposed to explain what this one is about? Kid moves to a town with a bunch of strange things happening, including... I don't know how to explain it without giving away too much of the fascination that comes from just watching the series as it unfolds. Because basically, the enjoyment of a series like this comes from, you know, this and Bakugan are intentionally designed in a way where they have a bunch of seemingly unrelated threads that just come together at the end. And in both cases, I thought they were done really well. both Durarara and Bakano. Uh, and well, I guess I could describe Bakano's story a bit better. This one, I think, is harder. Oh no, this one's story isn't too hard to explain. Moon phase, which, or is it hard? Let's see, the basic story is our main guy ends up meeting Vampire Girl in a very Transylvania-ish castle. And through the events there, she ends up living with him. There's a bunch of traditional vampire stuff that goes on on top of the obvious comedy setup, I guess. I'm trying to remember the exact details of everything that happened, because, to be honest, I only remember the story more than anything else. And that's actually something that reminds me why it's okay to why I am personally okay with saying I watched the series even if I can't remember the details. It's if I remember enough to spoil somebody really bad. And I definitely remember some of that in this series. But as you can see, it'll take a while to get through these individuals because they all came with postcards. I'm trying to be a bit thorough for y'all. I'm not even looking at these inserts. A lot of this is a good reminder if y'all thought a lot of the over-the-top fan services sort of stuff only was a product of anime from the last couple of years, but I suspect that a lot of y'all probably wouldn't fall for that. In fact, what was it I watched recently? Oh yeah, Lupin the Third, the second series, made back in 1970, and you still get fan servicey stuff. Not nearly as much as you might see in some series now, which are nothing but I don't know. I just wasn't expecting a shower scene like that, and right at the very beginning of the very first episode, pretty much. And then the final 6th DVD. Pretty sure there's been a handful of other releases for this, since this series I think has been out for a while. Huh. At least it was released long enough ago that I remember downloading and watching most of it. Okay. Hooray, no extras in this. Black Cat is easier to show. Let's see, what's the story about it? I guess the titular character, Black Cat, I think that was his call name, maybe? And his anime name was Train, I guess? He abandons an organization of some sort, and then they are a group of, what do they call them? Maybe jacks of all trades, I guess? Doing anything for hire. You got a mixture of different people. Eve is kind of amusing in that she so closely resembles Golden Darkness that I see some images that are tagged as both being Golden Darkness and Eve. Funny stuff. I don't remember his name. He was cool. Maybe something like Yvonne. I don't know. Anyways, I thought for the most part it was an enjoyable series to watch. I don't remember the exact details of everything that happened, but I do vaguely recall not enjoying the final story arc of the series all too much. I guess I can't go into too much detail there without spoiling it. Mobile Suit Gundam 00. This was a more recent Mobile Suit Gundam. Yet another new universe, which basically means a new calendar. Season 1 is 3 parts and Season 2 is 4. It's about pretty much everything that every other Gundam is about. I guess the specific detail, the general idea is it's about people who fight in wars who don't want to fight in wars. I think that's a pretty generic description of a lot of the Gundams I can think of. This one, the specific idea is the Gundams are part of a organization called Celestial Being, who are attempting to basically police the world of corruption. Kinda. It's more like not corruption per se, but of people who are warmongering. So somebody that is intentionally trying to get a couple of, okay. So I guess an example is like in the first episode where the Gundams are introduced. They're basically attacking a country that has been hoarding more mobile suits than the treaties allow, which is kind of warmongering. And they basically start policing stuff like that and whatever. Yeah, I don't know. That's just the excuse for, oh, we don't like war. And then there's the movie Awakening of the Trailblazer, which has also been released on Blu-ray, but I haven't acquired that Blu-ray yet. But yeah, that's all of Mobile Suit Gundam 00 that's out. It's possible there may be more after this movie, but I haven't looked. So I don't know that that's all of it, per se. So I was asked to show Code Geass R2, which is the second season of Code Geass. I would have shown the first season, except that, well, I'm already showing quite a few things this week. So I'm sticking specifically to the request. I guess I can't talk too much about the second season, since it basically picks up right where the first season left off. But I guess I could say what... Oh, I don't know. I think Code Geass is the kind of thing where you really ought to just watch the first episode. Because the kind of things it revealed, generally I consider those to be something I'm free to spoil, but, that first episode, not knowing what it was going into it, that was really spectacular. I guess, in a nutshell, if I were to describe Code Geass without describing what specifically happens, I would say that it's suspense, a ton of different kinds of suspense, people out thinking each other's suspense, mecha showdown suspense, even goddamn soap operas where it's like, oh my god, this person, that person, blah blah blah. I don't know. I think the soap opera stereotypes are probably applicable more than to just Code Geass specifically. It's just, when you start thinking about it and describing it, you realize that it's kind of crazy in that regard, while also being crazy in people outthinking other people and people out technologying other people. So it's kind of like Death Note mixed with Gundam mixed with All My Circuits. All My Circuits being from Futurama, because I don't know any other soap operas. Anyways, Sound of the Sky. I talked really favorably about it, and I haven't shown it in Inside the Box yet, so here we go. So, the basic story is simple enough. Our girl here joins the military in order to learn how to play the bugle. It's really hard to describe what made this series so awesome, because the surprises it reveals as you go through, they're really designed so that they just they get around your expectations. So if I tell you what's so surprising about it, you'd kind of know what to start looking for, and maybe not be as surprised. It'd probably ruin it for you. So there we go. I've got two series that I can't really talk about why they're awesome, because that would spoil them. But oh well. Let's continue with Inside the Box. So this time when I show Fushigi Yugi, I will probably not try and show it again, because the plastics on these things are quite degraded. This DVD is not in a very good condition, so I try and rarely pull them out. As you can see, the discs don't stay in their slots too well. Oh look, maybe there's no reason to show the discs, because there's nothing specifically awesome about them. So again, I watched the series the other day. The basic idea is we have two girls. They get sucked into a book, and their adventure goes from there. It's basically something of a journey story, except that a lot of the time is spent... You know, that's why they did it this way. It's about... The story they got sucked into is about gods of the north, south, east, and west, I think from Chinese. So the southern one would be the bird whose name I've already forgotten. And this would be Seiryu, the dragon, probably. Going into the exact details of this is kind of it's kind of silly to even think about trying to do that, because the basic idea is you know, not only do you have that, and you have the one girl becoming, you know, going on a journey and basically collecting a harem of guys, but there's standard shoujo relationship drama that goes on, and as I mentioned in my watching of it, it kind of gets absurd by the time it gets to the OVAs. Not that it wasn't a bit crazy during the series, but it was especially crazy during the OVAs. So I'm wondering if maybe they were originally planning on... Oh great, even these discs can't stay in their things. Huh. I wonder if maybe they were originally planning on having 4 boxes, one for each of the 4 gods, because they've got 4 colors, right? This is 2 of the OVAs, and this is the last OVA, but this one has the bird on it again, so I guess not. This one is actually the most snug one in its case. Alright, next up we've got Bakugan Battle Brawlers. What's the story? Cards fall from the sky, kids start playing it thinking it's just a card game, but it's actually determining the fate of another world or something like that. As you can see, it's not necessarily... It's probably dubbed only. So it's definitely brought here aimed at a younger kid audience. And I'll be honest, I found Pokemon easier to watch, but I wonder how much of that is nostalgia versus Pokemon necessarily being better. So that might not be a good metric, but if you want to use that as a bouncing off point, if you find Pokemon nostalgic and you're wondering if maybe Bakugan would also be good for you or something, then maybe that's not the case. Anyways, I don't think this is everything. This goes up to 26 episodes, which I don't think is all the series, but it's what's out. So that's what I have of it. And we end inside the box with taking a look at all 6 of the dragon boxes together. Now, let's see. Inside here, I don't know, I guess taking a peek at the DVDs themselves seems good. Especially when you've got, like, Vegeta, King Kai. These books are obviously important. So basically, each release comes with 2 things for DVDs and 1 book in the middle. The book containing probably episode information. Probably a lot more than that, but I don't know. We might as well look. So, some of you may be wondering, why get the Dragon Box when you already have the orange bricks? And actually, there is a good reason that if I had been familiar with, I probably would have started on these even earlier. Did I show this one? Huh. Well, now I did. This one has Vegeta. Okay, so first of all, one reason the main reason it makes sense is once you understand what's on the orange box, what they've done, it's not bad, But you kind of realize having both is kind of an important option. Basically, they normally, like this video is a 4x3. It's a measure of the ratio. This up here is like 4, and that's 3 or something like that. I don't know. If you understand that concept, well, basically, the orange boxes you may notice are actually a 16x9, which is a shrunk version, kind of. What they basically did was they cut off the top and the bottom parts of the image. And this one has the original video. It keeps the original 4x3 ratio, and it's a lot more focused on being a more authentic Japanese release. So it definitely defaults to Japanese with subtitles, I believe. It has the dub. People have described it as added in afterwards. It feels like maybe they did do that, actually, because the audio might be more quiet. As you can see, this one has Cell on it, and in it, in 1817. Which is, you know, I think I want to keep them both, because it just gives more options for watching. I noticed, for example, one thing these don't have that the orange boxes do that's kind of nice is the orange boxes have a marathon mode, which is actually really nice for trying to power your way through Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, because this was Gohan on here. This art may seem strange, but I think a lot of this was original Dragon Box stuff. I don't know. Anyways, last but not least, the recently arrived, as of I think last week, Dragon Box 6. You know, deep into the Boo saga. Oh look, there's Boo. And there should be one more coming out, I'm guessing. I could probably look to check, but I'm basing that upon this. As you can see, I've been putting them together this way to show you the complete picture that they're all forming. It's Goku and Gohan, and as you can see here, you can see Dragon Balls on it. Set 1 has 1 star ball in it, 2 has a 2 star, 3 has a 3, 4 has a 4, 5, 5, and 6, 6. So, I think it's not unreasonable to expect a 7th one with a 7-star ball, yes? Anyways, Dragon Ball Z Dragon Box was the final disc inside the box, so